Hana, the situation with Belarus is so tentative. The fact that you've had an attack happening on a sovereign nation from your territory, where exactly does this leave Belarus internationally? Is that a big worry?
It is a big worry. It's actually, well, firstly, the war is a big tragedy for Ukrainians for obvious reasons, but it also is tragedy for Belarusians because nobody in Belarus wants a war. Nobody in Belarus supports the Russian invasion on Ukraine. And I want to be clear that there should be a division between the people of Belarus and what the regime does. What are we having now? We are having an international response on Russia, but also on the regime in Belarus. There are sanctions. Sanctions have been increased, have become stronger, and we would see in the next days that these sanctions would only escalate against the regime. There are conversations about Belarus being excluded from SWIFT in the same way as Russian banks have been excluded. So we would see more and more isolation, political, economic isolation of Belarus from the international community, the international global economy, and the world, which is very dangerous for the people. The situation in my country would become worse when it comes to the economy. And I would say that there is also a threat to the sovereignty of Belarus at the moment because, well, Lukashenko is not deciding when it comes to military sphere, for example, because our country is again being used for aggression against Ukraine.
Yes. Ina Sovsun, I just wanted to ask you, what about the peace talks, peace process? The first round took place, but at the same time, they were attacking targets in Ukraine. Is there any hope of any talks moving in any positive direction at this stage?
Well, just before I start answering that question, I just noticed in your news line over here claims that one of the news lines over here that Russia is helping to evacuate people from Kharkiv. I just want to say that is a blatant lie by the Russians. Russians are not evacuating anyone from Kharkiv, and trust me, I'm in touch with so many people in my native city. Not a single one of them would want to be evacuated to Kharkiv. They hate from Kharkiv to Russia. They just hate Russia and Putin so much. They just want them out of the country. So this India claiming that Russia is helping to evacuate people from Kharkiv is just, well, Russia is lying. So please do not believe any word they're saying about that. About the talks,
that's an interesting point. And let's dwell on that point, Ina. You believe that any message from Russia that they are willing to help Indians evacuate from Kharkiv cannot be trusted?
Well, they are being run by a crazy guy on the top who has been hiding in a bunker somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Russia, who has taken no public responsibility for killing thousands of civilians in Ukraine. So whenever he is claiming that he is helping with someone, just be cautious with what he is saying because he's just unable for any humane feelings at this point whatsoever. So I will get back to the question of the talks because I would like to say that I do have hope, but frankly speaking, I do not, because the situation is like this. The Russians want us dead, and we want to stay alive. There's very little middle ground between that. You can either be dead or alive. So unless the Russians agree to withdraw from Ukrainian territory 100%, that's all what we're asking for, and we would not agree to anything less, particularly after what has happened to our cities and villages for the past week. So I do want to hope, but the hope is very slim.